think a lot of people have felt in the dark and felt like we can't do anything to assist the police. We all want to do something, but nobody quite knows what.
A harrowing true crime case shook the small, once peaceful town of Soham, Cambridgeshire, England, in 2002. This tragic tale revolves around the double child murder of two innocent 10-year-old girls, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, and the subsequent arrest and trial of the man responsible for their deaths. The two girls, hoping one day they would become what they've always wanted, never knew fate had other plans for them. Before we delve further into this true crime story, we kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts in the comments. On August 4th, 2002, Jessica left her home for a barbecue at her best friend Holly's house. The two girls, along with another friend, spent the afternoon playing before changing into distinctive Manchester United football shirts. A seemingly ordinary day took a dark turn when, around 6:15 p.m., the girls left Holly's residence to buy sweets and passed by the home of Ian Huntley. Tragically, they were lured inside under the false pretense that Huntley's girlfriend, Maxine Carr, the girls' teaching assistant, was present. The events that unfolded inside Huntley's residence remain unclear, but it's believed that the girls were asphyxiated. Their bodies were later discovered in an irrigation ditch close to RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk on August 17, 2002. Upon the girls' failure to return home, panic set in. The Wells family and the Chapmans, realizing their daughters were missing, reported the disappearance to the police at 9:55 p.m. on that fateful day. A massive search effort commenced involving over 400 officers, local volunteers, and even United States Air Force personnel stationed nearby. The public was enlisted for assistance, with appeals for information accompanied by a photograph taken just hours before the disappearance. Suspecting a kidnapping, investigators questioned registered offenders in the area and explored the possibility of online connections. Over 260 offenders were interrogated, but all were eventually eliminated from the investigation. CCTV footage of the girls before their disappearance was released to the public, along with televised reconstructions of their last known movements. Despite numerous sightings reported by the public, including a potential link to a previous abduction, the trail went cold. Witnesses reported seeing the girls, with one describing them as two little Beckhams. Ian Huntley himself claimed to have spoken with the girls before their disappearance, offering a seemingly innocent account. However, police remained suspicious, especially after a search of Huntley's house revealed nothing incriminating but raised questions about recent cleaning efforts. The investigation took an unexpected turn when a jogger reported disturbed earth at Warren Hill, raising concerns of a possible burial site. Fortunately, this lead turned out to be a false alarm, as the mounds were identified as badger setts. The net around Huntley tightened when on August 6th he drove to Grimsby to pick up Maxine Carr. Witnesses observed an emotional scene involving Huntley staring into the open boot of his car. His suspicious behavior and inconsistent statements led investigators to consider him a prime suspect. On August 17, 2002, a gamekeeper named Keith Pryor stumbled upon a gruesome sight: the bodies of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman lying side by side in an irrigation ditch near RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk. The bodies, discovered more than 10 miles from Soham, were in an advanced state of decomposition, and attempts had been made to burn them, likely in a bid to destroy forensic evidence. Despite the condition, investigators quickly deduced the victims' identities and determined they hadn't died at the location where their bodies were found. DNA testing confirmed the identities of the girls on August 21, 2002. A public memorial service at Ely Cathedral, attended by around 2,000 people, paid tribute to the young lives lost. An online book of condolence amassed over 31,000 messages, reflecting the widespread grief. Football clubs across Britain observed a minute's silence in honour of Holly and Jessica. The inquest, held on August 23rd, revealed the bodies were partially skeletonized, with asphyxiation being the likely cause of death. The bodies had been placed at the discovery location within 24 hours of death. Funerals for Holly and Jessica took place in September 2002, with a poignant public plea during the service for positive change in how people treat one another. In the weeks following the disappearance, Ian Huntley, the man who would later be implicated in the crime, gave interviews, expressing shock and despair as the unofficial spokesman for the community. His erratic behavior, weight loss, and signs of insomnia raised suspicions. Maxine Carr, his girlfriend, corroborated his story during interviews, but later confessed to lying about her whereabouts to protect Huntley. Huntley's Ford Fiesta, forensically examined, revealed signs of recent extensive cleaning, but also traces linked to the crime scene. On August 17, 2002, Huntley and Carr were arrested on suspicion of abduction and murder. Despite Huntley's initial refusal to answer questions and feigned mental distress, Carr quickly confessed to concocting a false alibi. Huntley, however, was referred to a mental hospital for a psychological evaluation. By August 20th, investigators had gathered enough evidence to charge Huntley with 2 counts of murder. Carr faced charges of attempting to pervert the course of justice. Carr remained emotionally attached to Huntley initially, professing her belief in his innocence, but severed contact by December 2002. The trial commenced on November 5, 2003, before Mr. Justice Alan Moses. Huntley entered a plea of not guilty to the 2 counts of murder, while Carr faced charges related to assisting an offender and perverting the course of justice. Prosecutor Richard Latham QC, in his opening statement, meticulously detailed the last day of the girls' lives. He argued that Huntley had intentionally lured them into his home and later murdered them. Cell site analysis and eyewitness accounts were presented to establish the timeline and locations. Latham emphasized Carr's false statements to the police and media, weaving a narrative of a deliberate conspiracy to protect Huntley. Over 3 days, Latham methodically outlined the efforts of both defendants to divert suspicion from Huntley. Despite Huntley's attempts to destroy evidence, forensic experts revealed incriminating details. Fiber evidence, a precise match to the girl's clothing, linked back to Huntley's home and vehicle. Latham raised questions about Huntley's claim that both deaths were accidental, challenging the jury to scrutinize his behavior over the fortnight between the disappearance and the discovery of the bodies. On November 24th, forensic scientist Helen Davey testified about biological evidence recovered from the girls' clothing and a dishcloth found in Soham Village College. Traces of blood and saliva were identified, providing crucial forensic links. A scene of crime officer attested to blood spattering in Huntley's home, despite his attempts to eradicate evidence. On December 1st, Huntley took the stand in his defense. He admitted the girls had died in his house, but claimed their deaths were accidental. Huntley described a tragic scenario where Wells, suffering from a nosebleed, drowned in his bath as he panicked. He alleged that Chapman, witnessing the incident, died accidentally as he tried to stifle her screams. Later, Huntley tearfully accepted responsibility for both deaths, but insisted they were unintentional. He explained his failure to call emergency services, citing concern over public perception. On December 3rd, Carr testified in her defense. She discussed her return to Soham and the discovery of Huntley cleaning their home. Carr claimed ignorance about the murders, attributing her efforts to mislead authorities to her desire to protect Huntley. She asserted her innocence regarding the charges of assisting an offender and perverting the course of justice. On December 10th, both counsels presented closing arguments. Latham portrayed Huntley and Carr as accomplished liars, urging the jury to reject their accounts of accidental deaths. He emphasized Huntley's selfish motives and Carr's conscious efforts to protect him. Defense counsel Stephen Coward, QC, conceded Huntley's physical responsibility, but argued the lack of definitive proof for intent. Coward requested a verdict of manslaughter. After 4 days of deliberation, on December 17, 2003, the jury returned a majority verdict of guilty on 2 counts of murder against Huntley. Carr pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice and was found not guilty of assisting an offender. Huntley received a life sentence with a minimum term of 40 years, ensuring no parole eligibility until 2042. Carr was sentenced to 3.5 years for perverting the course of justice. On September 29, 2005, Justice Moses declared that Huntley must serve a minimum of 40 years, offering little hope of eventual release. The possibility of a whole life tariff was avoided due to legislative changes post-conviction. The parents of the victims, Leslie Chapman among them, expressed their hope that Huntley would spend the rest of his days behind bars. As we reflect on the trial's conclusion, justice was served, yet the scars of the Soham murders remain etched in the hearts of those who lost their beloved daughters. The legal proceedings offered closure, but the profound tragedy of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman will forever be remembered as a stark reminder of the darkness that can shatter the tranquility of a small town. So, what do you think about the enduring impact of the Soham murders and the pursuit of justice on the affected families and the community at large? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.